Hello. So this is something I haven't done in a while. So I had this weekend a very good race in the iRacing IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge Series that I would like to share with you. Now, the iRacing IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge Series mirrors the real life series, so it's the GT4 and TCR multi-class. I'm racing the GT4s, and it's 2 hours long. Usually has two pit stops. This race does. Sometimes you can get away with just one, depends on the track. But this race is two pit stops. You watch me going around on my qualifying lap, but this race isn't about the qualifying. It's a really fun race, though. Lots of battling early on, and this race kind of just it highlights what you need to win in this series. Apart from lots of pace, you need to be very fast, but you also need to do a lot of other things because these races are long, solo endurance races, and a lot can happen in these races, and a lot of it's just about patience and fuel saving and this race is a lot of things I learned. It shows a lot of things I learned doing these races the past couple seasons, and it was a very good race. So hopefully you enjoy. So let's get into it. So where else to begin other than to start? We're still on the rolling start. Pace car's not gone in. If you notice, the leader is starting to break here, and it actually causes some cars behind to stack up and collide. But here we go. We're off. Leaders decide to go now, and you see second place tucking in right behind the leader. I'm right behind the car that qualified third place on the inside, braking late. And I thought I was clear here, but he kept it in, and I'll show this on the outboard, and you can see his car right there, but I managed to hold it. Around here, outside's a pretty good line here in Sandport, still alongside. I managed to clear him in that corner. We're off in a single file, and now we can start doing what I wanted to do. So at Sebring last week, not last week, 2 weeks ago, I had a qualified fifth, and I had FPS issues that race, and I had some issues this race, but it was fine for the most part. And I got wrecked out of that race, but apart from that, I did learn something. So I knew in the races where it could be a one-stop, that saving fuel would be very good. Because you can then do the race in one stop and save a lot of time in the pits. But I learned at Sebring, which is not a one-stop race, that even just going a few laps longer into your stints can save you loads of time. And I realized this is probably because the GT4 cars take quite a while to fill up their fuel tanks while you're in the pits. So while you're refueling, if you can just save a few laps of fuel, go a bit longer, especially in your first stint, and just let that sort of play out. If you can go a bit longer, you don't have to put as much fuel in your second stop. And if you don't have to put as much fuel in your second stop, you're going to save loads of time. I jumped ahead of some person who was like 2-3 seconds ahead and had like a 2-second gap. And I don't think that was like pit entry or being faster because he pit before me in that race. So I knew going into this that I'd want to save as much fuel as possible, and you can see me actually kind of braking a bit later there, but I'm trying to save as much fuel here, and I'm just sort of getting into that rhythm, and trying also not to lose positions to the guys behind, because ideally you don't want to do that. It's about trying to be as fast as possible and using the least amount of fuel possible. And second place here, he's not quite as fast as I'd like him to be. I'd like him to be right on the leader right now, but it is helping me save a lot of fuel right now. Just being in the drafts, because that helps as well. And the main way you have it saving fuel, though, is just lifting and coasting. See, I lift a bit on the curb there, brake after the curb. Normally I brake like right around where the sign is. I mean, lift there. I normally brake right around the tower on the right-hand side. And it's just all about lifting and coasting. Maybe lift a little bit here, because also you can not lose too much time doing this, because you can brake a bit later to the corners as well. Get a bit of a snap of oversteer there. Going down this corner, so you can see on the left, I lift way before that and then brake at the curb. Normally I'd brake maybe right after the first brake marker board. And then also just try not to make any mistakes. That wall can be a bit scary right there. So make sure you don't want to go wide there. And just carry the speed through here. So the start of the race has gone well. We've gained a position, which is not easy to do when you're on the outside. Even in Zandvoort, which is a pretty good outside line into turn 1. But we're doing pretty good here. You can see him lifting right there, and then braking later. So yeah, this is how the race starts out, and it's quite boring, but bear with me, because it will get a bit more interesting in a few laps. Before we get back to the action, though, this is the start, and you see the leader just slowed down, and that car in the green hit the car in the white in the rear. Probably not a whole lot of damage, these cars are strong, but yeah, I don't like what he did there, and you can see the Falcon BMW next to me, who is started third, and I got a way better reaction than him. Possibly he was just surprised by that. You can see I wanted to go to the apex there, because I thought I was clear, and he just stuck his nose in, so I was just being careful, because in a fixed race, I was actually taken out there. I started second that race, got overtaken into turn 1 by the guy in third, and I tried to get underneath, and there was somebody with their nose stuck in just barely and tapping around. So I wanted to avoid that this time, especially given it's a 2-hour race. There's no need to be impatient here, because there's plenty of time to do stuff. So yeah, we can get back to the action now that you have seen the start. So now we have, this is lap 14, start lap 14. You can see the leaders up there, they've sort of gone away from me, just a tiny bit. You can see another TCR up there lapping. Well, that we're lapping. He laps in there in turn 2, and I'm probably going to be able to get it right after the sort of banked hairpin of turn 3. And some interesting stuff happens this lap, so we're just sort of chilling. It's not great these guys have been able to pull a gap to us, but it can always go back into our favor, possibly, as the race goes on. You never know. But I'm just focused on sort of saving fuel, running a consistent pace, being clean. See how much I'm saving fuel. Hit that curve quite a bit right there. Going into this corner. I like this section quite a bit. Oh, bit of oversteered there. That's not great. You don't want that because you're kind of just wasting it. Yeah, right there. This car doesn't have a whole lot of traction, so it's easy to do that. But you can see the leader up there. You can't see him anymore, and he dive bombs that TCR trying to get past him, and then they make contact. And this guy's caught up in it as well. So I try to maybe sneak to the lead, but he's giving me a bit of a pinch, and self-preservation just kicks in. I decide to just let him have it back, but now the leader is just gone. So we're now running second, well, the number 4 car, who was running second place before, is now right in front of us. Might have damage, possibly, might not. But we're now back in a pretty good position, so let's take a look at what happened there. So the leader just dive bombs this TCR out of nowhere, comes in very hot, squeezes the TCR off the track, and then the TCR comes back on and hits him. I don't know if that's intentional, or if the TCR just wanted to get back on the track, or lost control, or what, means my computer lags out, and that guy in the BMW gets blocked there. So, not great. Personally, I don't understand what the number 9 was doing here, because, well, you're the leader, and there's still quite a bit of race to go. So, I don't know what he was doing there, but that is good for us, because, well, now he's dropped way back. The next moment comes to us on lap 17 here, and you see we're lapping these TCRs, the leader here. And this TCR right here, number 19 car, I don't remember specifically, but I think he's like already lapped down. I just don't know what he's doing. He looked like he was going to the right, he looked like he was going to the left. I just didn't know. And so I just decided to go up here. And the thing is, this is not a good line, and I have a car right behind me. It's that BMW from earlier on lap 1. And he's now alongside me and is going to block the pass here, which is frustrating for me because I don't know what the hell that TCR was doing. He was just occupying the middle of the track, not being predictable like he should, and now I've lost second place. But it would actually turn out to be a good thing for me later, and you'll see that soon. Try to have a look to get it back, but I have to back out of that. I forgot to even downshift there, which is great. But yeah, we're just lapping these TCRs. TCRs are kind of hard to lap because they're similar paces, corners, and we're a bit faster in the straights, but not off by a whole lot. So we're just trying to make our way through. We force our way through there, and line there, so actually we screwed ourselves even more. Lost even more time. So that's not great. Personally, I don't like it when TCRs do that. Like, if you're gonna pass them, they should back out. Because it's better for us both because we don't lose as much time, but like, us both, like, are losing time by him just fighting us. But yeah, this ends up working out for us later. And by later, I meant lap 22, because as you can see, there is now 3 TCRs, or not TCRs, GT4s in front of me, and one of them's a lap down. It's that light blue McLaren up there. And you have the leader, and we're all kind of stacked up behind it, as well as this TCR. The TCR leader, if I'm not mistaken, is right there as well. So the 4 car goes up the inside of the McLaren, and the McLaren just kind of holds it there and then dive bombs him back into this next corner when he's a lap down and he's not getting that lap back. So he's just kind of wasting us all of our time right here, being a bit rude. I mean, if I'm the leader, I don't want to do this, like, have to be fighting a back marker, and if I'm a back marker, I don't want to be fighting the leader. So I don't know what the hell this guy's doing, but it stacked us all up, and we've also got the TCR leader right here. So we've got both leaders for both classes, the lap GT4, and second and third for the upper classes, or GT4. And I think there's also some cars behind me as well, a little bit more distant. But the 4 car, I think it's the 4 car, has a draft off the light blue McLaren, and now McLaren's going to lap the TCR leader, and then you can see the BMW is going up the inside of the leader, and he forces him wide, and then squeezes him between himself and the lap GT4, and now I'm up to second, because the, well, what was the leader is now gone, and now I'm able to work my way back past the McLaren, and now I'm up to second, and just like that, like, I'm right there in the second place, and the driver who was leading is not anymore in second place, or first place. He's now down to third, so actually I think he might have dropped even more positions. Either way, we are now back into a good position, especially considering I'm fairly certain I'm quicker than this guy, at least at this point. So, not only do I have a person who I'm certain I'm quicker than in front of me, 2 drivers who might have been quicker than me before are now behind. So that's ideal for me. So as you can see right here, the leader is trying to lap this blue McLaren, and as he goes around the TCR leader, and the BMW just forces his way up the inside, and then runs him up the track, then just shoulders him, squeezes him, forces him to back out, and then I'm right there, and I'm happy enough to take advantage of that, and you can see there's some more cars behind, and he gets stuck on the inside here, which is not good, and he's stuck behind the blue McLaren, so he's going to lose even more places to the Mercedes and another Aston Martin there, the Napa livery, and then McLaren finally gets out of the way, which he should have done in many corners before. And now you have the guy who was the leader before, the number 9, right behind him. So these 2 are back together, and they're way further back than they were before. And that's just how quickly things can change in a couple laps due to incidents happening, which is why you need to stay out of them. But it only took to lap 25 for the new leader, the BMW, to make a mistake. You've seen me go a bit squirrely and to this corner, but he gets it all sorts of wrong. And I didn't know where he was going, but I managed to just work my way past him. And now that you're going to cut to the BMWs, and you have that Mercedes from earlier right next to him. And they're side by side in this next corner. And the outside here, though, is not the line to be on, and he just gets squeezed out. Now, he's dropped again from first to third in just a couple corners. Just how quickly things can change. But just as quickly as I got the lead, I'm about to lose it. So we've only had it for a couple corners, although enough to register a lap. And you're going to see a McLaren just go out and rejoin in front of me. Now, fortunately, he actually stopped and realized he made a mistake. But I thought he was still going around the track, and now I've lost the lead and gone down to second. I make a mistake in that corner, but we managed to hold on. So this is very much not ideal, as we have another lap car up ahead, that Porsche. It's not ideal, because we just got the lead, so we now have to hunt down this new leader. I have no idea how fast he is, so this is going to be difficult, but possible. And again, this is just all about patience. I could have very well just lost it and started making mistakes and just gotten flustered, but it's all about patience in these longer races, because so much can happen that you need to remember that. And so I just immediately was like, okay, I can get this back. I can just be patient, save fuel, and I still have a chance here. So now we're cutting to the end of lap 30, and you can see the Mercedes that took over the lead is now pitting, and this is amazing for us, because we can now go for way more laps. And in fact, I end up going to lap 33, so just skipping ahead a few laps in the replay. You can see I'm in the pit lane, lap 33, and we have gone way longer than that previous leader, and that's amazing, because he's not going to be able to really have a chance against us. We just need to keep up, and as long as we keep up, we should gain a load of time in the pits, and we should be good, because also, we did get a decent-sized gap to the cars behind as well. So, we're not really under much fret from the cars behind, but as long as we can stay within maybe a few seconds of that Mercedes, we have a very, very good shot at winning this race. So you can see in the pits right here, and I'm going to keep this going so we can get straight to the end. So the tires are now done. They're almost done. There's just a few more gallons of fuel to put in the car. Liters as well. Depends on what unit of measurement. If I use gallons. Pits here. Second. You don't. You gotta be very careful in pit exit at Sandford, because it's very easy to go wide. You can see the Mercedes right there, so we haven't lost much time to him. But there is now an Aston Martin right next to me. You can see him now. Now this car, I do not know what he did, but I'm fairly certain he did a short pit stop first. So you can do that if you want, and he's made a mistake there, so I tried to pass him, but I can't get as good of an exit on that line, so we're now stuck behind this Aston Martin, and this could be not good for us. We need to clear him, because he doesn't seem like he's fairly quick, and he might have done a short pit stop first, which is why he's jumped ahead of us, because he was not really anywhere near us before, and so that wouldn't have been possible unless he did a short pit stop first, which is what I think he did. So we need to get past him soon. Unless we lose too much time to the Mercedes and can't get it back. That's all I'm really concerned about, so. And also trying to be careful in these cold tires, but cold tires in GT4 aren't a big deal. He goes a little bit wide there. Doesn't lose much time doing that, so it's all good for him. Not good for us, though. So we should keep saving fuel, and, you know, we do get his draft as well. He is going to do the nicest thing he could do possible for us, and that's just getting out of the way, because he recognized, I think, I'm probably a bit quicker, and he's just let me by. He didn't need to do this, but he did it, and it's probably smarter if he knew he didn't have the pace to keep up with me, because he's not going to lose any time battling, I'm not going to lose any time battling, and he's on a completely different strategy. We're not really racing for position at this point, so it's very nice of him to do that. Completely unnecessary, but absolute GOAT for doing that. So now we can hunt down the overall leader. So I suppose we will just skip forward lap after lap after lap. You can see that gap just closing constantly. GT4 is letting us by, lapping TCRs fairly close to in this lap. Keep going, slapping that GP4. Pretty close this lap. Sort of look, but I wasn't really thinking. We don't need to force an aggressive move here. I could if I wanted to try to just dive bomb him, but that wouldn't be smart. Because I don't really need to be ahead of him in order to win this race. I just need to be close enough to him where any advantage I get in the pits, having to put less fuel in my car, will be enough to get me to lead. Because I've been able to close this gap down, which proves I've got better pace. I've been able to save fuel behind him, so my advantage might even grow as a result. and I can just chill. If I do get a proper opportunity to overtake, of course I'm going to take it, but that's not necessary. And then as you can see in lap 54, I believe this is, we're right up behind him, but we're finally going to get that opportunity to overtake him. So he goes a bit wide at this corner, and that's just going to be enough. So we have a draft, and we have a bit of a speed advantage going into this, and we're close. So, and he's not going to defend this. So we're going to pull out, get alongside, leave plenty of room, and we're going to brake late. Wide there, but he'll hold it on the inside and clear him, and we have the lead now. So now we are the leader with way more fuel. We can go way longer. We're going to save a load of time in the pits. No one else is a threat. I believe we pulled, at this point, a 10-second or so gap to third place. It's just between me and this guy for the win here. And it's now our race to lose, pretty much, because, you know, we've got a way shorter pit stop in the lead, and we're faster. So we've got everything. We just need to not make any mistakes from this point, and we've won. Now, jumping on board with that Mercedes, you can see me up ahead. I've pulled a bit of a gap, which should be expected, and got rid of some gravel there. Don't worry, I didn't get an off-track for that. I only got an off-track on lap 29, and this is way later in the race. But you can see him pulling into the pits right here. I didn't look at what lap this was. I'll put that on the screen. I looked, actually. It was the end of lap 58 he pit. Well, this is the end of lap 66, and this is when I'm finally going to make my second and final pit stop. Be very careful in pit entry. You don't want to get any speeding penalties. Actually, enable the pit speed limiter a bit early. And we're just going to roll into our pit box. Don't overshoot it. And we're going to just refuel the car up. I believe it was only 4 gallons we had to put in. But you can see how long this takes. If I'm not mistaken, if it's a 20-second pit stop or something like that. I don't know. It felt way longer than it would in like GT3 Sprint or something. The refuel time on these cars is quite long. And you can see those guys that are lapped up ahead. No German flag-colored Mercedes in sight, and that's because, apparently, turns out after the race, we were sort of chatting, he ended up accidentally forgetting to uncheck tires on his second stop, which meant he just put tires on his car when he didn't need to. Second stop, you don't really want to put tires on, because that takes a long time. So he ended up losing way more time in the pits. Now, I probably would have had it anyways. I mean, just look at the gap I had and, like, way less fuel. I had that, but that meant he, in the end, actually dropped down to third, or something. It was like third or fourth, but at the end he finished at third. The number 4 car from earlier, the other Aston Martin, the dark red one, ended up finishing second. But from here, I could just chill. It was just a nice, easy race. And on the final lap, we have this TCR here who's just going to pull off to the side. Probably just letting him get lapped so he doesn't have to do another lap. But we have a race win, in the first race win in an endurance race. First race win in IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. And one of the best races I've ever done. Probably the best race. Just perfect on my part. I was not aggressive at all. Because I didn't need to be. And I saved the fuel. I went the longest of any other driver by several laps. I don't know the exact figure, but I went way longer in the stints. And I had a really, really good pace. Me and the Mercedes gapped the entire field. We gapped the entire field, like 10 seconds or so. In the end, I had a 15-second gap to second place. And I did that all while using less fuel than anyone else. Not getting any damage. I don't think I made contact a single time in this race. 1X, just one off track on lap 29 that I mentioned earlier. Very, very clean race. Very consistent, very fast. Saved the fuel properly. It was just a really, really good race. Very clean. And, you know, going into this race, I had 2 wins this week, but before this week, I actually had a bit of a drought. I hadn't won since week 2 last season. Or not week 2. Week 10 last season. So I'd gone 7 weeks, 6 weeks without a win. So it was a bit of a drought. But I hadn't really had a good race, like a great race. So the season before last season, I had a couple really, really good races. And it's those really, really good races that really make you feel like you've done something just special, and that's just what you want. The season before it, I had a couple wins, but none of them felt special. This one is the first one in a while it just felt special, and that's why I decided to do an entire victory lap, I guess, so I could do donuts without hurting my safety rating or anything. So, yeah, great race. Just kind of everything I would have wanted. Like, not even everything I would have wanted, way more than anything I would have wanted. And a perfect way to bounce back from Sebring. And it's just a great race. So I hope you enjoyed, and goodbye.